Hi, Glenn here, and today I'm going to share with you the inspiration behind my most recent original song. In a few moments I'll be revealing the process I went through to come up with this song and how this may help you if you're a songwriter and right now you feel that you just have to get a song out, but for whatever reason you're struggling. Or perhaps you've never even written a song before. Maybe you're someone who's going through something right now and you feel that you just have to get your feelings out and you want to do that by trying to write a song. So I'll be sharing my experience with you in just a moment. Hi, my name's Glenn Shepherd and I've been writing songs now for probably around 34 years. And written many types of song and written songs by myself. I've written songs with other people. And today I want to share with you something that I believe is going to be really helpful, maybe interesting, I hope so. And it's something that I've never actually done before. I've never revealed this process to anyone before. And interestingly, I actually published a video just a week ago about this very topic of songwriting. I did a video on 10 tips for beginner and advanced songwriters, and this tip actually wasn't in it. But I feel that it's a little bit more appropriate to go through this in its own video. And this contains something that I actually heard from someone else a while back. I can't even recall who it was. It might have even been a number of different people, because one of the things that I'm sure all songwriters can relate to is writer's block, where you want to write but you just can't get what you want to say out, or you're not getting good enough ideas for melodies and this sort of thing. So writer's block can be a real problem for songwriters. But there's another thing that's it's a form of writer's block, but another thing that I've certainly found, and that is when you feel that you have to write. And this is what this video is really about, and this is who it's really for, because I know there'll be somebody out there right now who's watching this who feels that they need to write. Perhaps you're going through something really profound in your life. Perhaps you've lost a loved one, or you're going through a breakup, or you have some other kind of feelings that you for whatever reason, you just feel you need to get those out, and it's really tearing you up inside the situation that you're going through, and you really need to write. And that is something that I experienced just recently. And to be honest, this is not an easy topic for me to talk about. So I'm someone who can only write songs when they really mean something. And this is something I actually talk about in the video that I just referred to a moment ago, that songs for me, they have to come from really deep inside here. I can't just write about any old thing. And that's by no means sort of kind of criticising anybody who does write like that. Creativity comes in all shapes and sizes, and I'm never going to criticise someone for their creative process, how they draw inspiration, how they come up with something. You know, it's an art form and it's individual to every person. But because I'm someone who, myself, I'm a very emotional person, and for me, songwriting is a way of expressing those emotions, and it's kind of a way of almost wearing my heart on my sleeve, because when you write a song and you put it out there, you're bearing your emotions, or at least I am. When I'm doing it, I'm bearing my emotions to all and sundry, whoever's listening to that song. And when you're like that and you do that, it makes you feel very exposed, and you are very exposed. You're bearing your soul, your heart to people, sometimes to complete strangers, particularly if you're putting things on the internet, or you're a professional songwriter. You are handing not only that song out to other people, but you're handing those emotions out. And that can be quite a profound thing, really. But for me, this is why it's quite a difficult topic to talk about today, because this song that I'm referring to is something that I've written very, very recently. And like all my songs, it came from a place of needing to write. It came from inspiration from a particular situation. Now, what I am just going to say right here now is, although I will be revealing some information about this, I'm not going to tell you exactly what the song is about, because it is very personal. Maybe someday I will do. Right now, I'm not going to. But that by no means will detract from the information I'm going to be sharing with you. You don't need to know the actual topic of the song. You don't need to know anything about the song itself. All you need to know is it was a particular situation that led me to feel that I needed to write about it. So what can very often happen in these cases is when somebody feels that they need to write, sometimes frustratingly, that is the very time they can't, and they just get so frustrated because no matter how much they try, they can't. And then the more a person tries to force the song to come, the more it won't. A song really needs to come naturally. And that can be extremely frustrating when you're going through something where you feel you need to bear these emotions. Perhaps you don't have anyone to talk to. Perhaps you're going through something really, really difficult and you don't have someone to talk to. And perhaps songwriting is your only form of release. And when you can't do it, you just feel so frustrated and so much worse. And the more you try it, the harder it gets, and the more it doesn't want to come, and the more frustrated you get. And it can be a very, very difficult thing. So what I want to share with you now is what I did, and hopefully what you can try doing that might help you if you're feeling something similar. So this song was based on and inspired by something very personal, something that has been very difficult to deal with, and something that is very important to me. And I just needed to write. I needed to. I felt I need to write this. I need to write a song. This just needs to come out. And I sat down with a guitar and nothing was coming. I got my iPad, jotting down ideas, lyrics. Some lyrics were coming, but they felt almost forced. Even though the lyrics were based on the topic and they were based on my feelings, they felt forced. And this is why I'm kind of making this a slightly different thing to kind of traditional writer's block. Although this is still writer's block, but we very often think of writer's block as being, oh, I want to write a song, I can't write a song, nothing's coming, not getting any ideas. This is a little bit more than that, because this is that you have the idea, you know what you want to write about, but you can't actually do it. And you're even coming up with perhaps lyrics and melodies, and you're getting these ideas, but it's not feeling right. It doesn't somehow seem true to the actual feeling, if that makes sense. Again, if you've experienced this, I'm sure you understand what I mean. And that's why I want to share this with you, because I hope it helps. So here's what I did. The very first thing that I did, and I've actually done this with my last 2 or 3 songs, I've started doing something recently that I never did before. And that is, in my case, I do it on my iPad, but you can do this in any way you want to. And that is just to write down your feelings. So I've just had a blank page in my notepad software in my iPad, and I've just written down how I'm feeling at that moment, asking rhetorical questions as though I'm talking to another person. if there's another person involved in the situation, actually writing down these questions like to that person, writing down my fears, writing down my hopes, writing down exactly what's happened. It's almost like with each thought that's written down, it's almost like a little journal in a way. And over a little time, days or however long it takes, I end up with maybe a page or two of just notes. Any ideas I get for lyrics, any just like little phrases that might pop into my head, those go down as well. And what I found is that serves two purposes. Number one, it gives me a way, well, I guess it's three purposes. Number one, it gives me all my thoughts laid out there in a written format. They're right there in front of me and I can refer to them, I can keep going over them. Secondly, relating to that, any ideas that I've had are amongst those, so I can like cherry pick the little phrases or concepts. And thirdly, it just gets my mind unconsciously thinking, not just thinking about the topic, because if there's something that you're going through and you're experiencing that's perhaps unpleasant or upsetting or frustrating or whatever, you're going to be thinking about it anyway, right? It gets your thought processes going in such a way that it kind of, to use quite a cliche sort of phrase, gets the creative juices flowing. And the thing about this is you don't really realise it, you're not conscious of that. You're not thinking, oh, so all of a sudden I feel inspired. It just, in my experience, the few times I've tried this, it has helped me get past writer's block, because in the past I've had writer's block sometimes for months, if not years, because of only being able to write when I feel so profoundly moved. I can't write otherwise. Whereas with trying this approach, it has enabled me to write pretty quickly, and almost it feels like the ideas have popped out of nowhere. So for example, I'm just looking here now and I've got probably, in relation to this latest song, probably about 30 or 40 different lines written. And I've like highlighted any parts that I think would be good lyrics, or maybe the title for the song, or stuff like that. So this is an extremely useful method I've found. Just writing down, basically what you're doing is brain dumping. If any of you have heard that concept of brain dumping, it's getting anything that's in there out and down on paper, or in my case on an iPad. Doesn't matter how you do it, just get it out. Because one of the problems when we are going through something is we have all these thoughts and feelings all going around in here and in here, and they're all inside. When you brain dump, you get them out, get them all down on paper or whatever, and they're no longer in here, they're out there, and you can see them all kind of in context in relation to each other. It just helps you it helps me to kind of compartmentalize my thoughts and feelings, and these ideas and thoughts are coming out, and I'll spot like little things, little phrases I think that would be good for a lyric, or that encompasses exactly what I've been trying to say, and I'll underline it, or I'll star it, or I'll reword it, or something like this. And what I've found when I've done that is the creative process kind of kickstarts a lot better for me. So with regards to this latest song, I had been trying for a number of days to write because I felt compelled to, I felt I needed to, but nothing was coming. And the more I tried, the more it felt forced, and the more frustrated I was getting, and all that stuff that I've already described. But after doing this process, because I thought to myself, you know what, I haven't actually done what I've resolved to do going forwards and what I'd done previously, and do this kind of brain dumping exercise. So I did that, spent the next couple of days just doing that. And what happened was then I was having a conversation with someone about what it was that inspired this song, and felt quite honestly frustrated still, on top of all the frustration I'd already been feeling. And I came home and I immediately picked up my guitar and I played an E chord, just a basic E chord, finger picked this E chord, and sang a melody and a lyric, and went to an A suspended second and carried on singing more of a melody and more of a lyric. And I'm like, that's it. That's the song. And I ended up writing the song in total maybe 2 hours at the most, spread across 2 days. I wrote the first half of it, maybe first 3/4 or so, on that night, straight away. Sat down, scribbled away the lyrics, and following day finished off the rest of it. So this is something I would highly recommend that you do. There are all kinds of ways that you can try to battle writer's block. As I mentioned, I've got a video about that with 10 tips. Some of those are specifically about beating writer's block and what to do. But with this very specific, passionate need, this desire that you need to write right now, honestly, this is probably the best advice I can give you. And when it is something that is so profoundly important to you, it might be that it actually is harder. Because, at least in my case, what I find is the more important the topic is, and as I said, all songs that I write come from an area of importance, something that is important to me. But of course, then there are varying degrees, right? Some things are more important than others, or more profound, or more hurtful, or more positive, or whatever. But when you've got something that really is profoundly important, that you really have that burning desire where you feel, I have to write and now. But when you can't, it's so incredibly frustrating, and just adds to, if you're feeling pain, it adds to the pain. And being able to write doesn't take the pain away, but it's therapeutic, it's cathartic. It helps you to release some of those emotions that you're feeling. And then when you're playing it, you're singing it, it's a way of it's not taking anything away. It's not stopping the situation that's being experienced. It's not giving a solution, but it's giving you some way of releasing some of that pressure. And that's very often what we need. And that's why we feel that we need to write a song in that moment. So this is why I said at the beginning that even if you're not a songwriter, you might be going through something where you feel that you need to write. It could be that you're not even a musician. You don't play an instrument. But if it means that picking up your phone, for example, going to your audio recorder, hitting record and just singing into your phone, and just singing whatever melody you've come up with and whatever lyrics you've come up with, if that's what you need to do that. You don't have to play an instrument. You don't have to be a songwriter as such. You do whatever you feel you need to do to help you to cope with that situation you're going through. And it could just well be that a song is what you need to do. And if that is the case, I hope that this video has just given you some ideas, given you some encouragement, and gives you something through which you might be able to release some of those pent-up emotions or that pent-up frustration that you might be feeling. So I really hope this video has been helpful and maybe interesting. I do realise that nothing I've said here is necessarily anything new. The idea of brain dumping is not anything new. That's something that many people do. The idea of getting things out of your head and just writing them down. However, it's one of the most fundamental things that many of us forget to do, or just doesn't occur to us to do. So it does serve as a good reminder for us if that is the case. So if this video's helped just one person, you know, if you've been feeling very, very frustrated and in some need of writing a song, I really hope this has given you something to work with, some different perspective to consider, so that it'll help you to just to get out what's in there and what's in here, get it out, get it all written down, and then giving you something from which you can work to come up with what will hopefully be a really great song and something that is really, really important to you. So thanks so much for watching. If you've liked this, please like it, share it. I'd love to hear your comments, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and your suggestions for writing songs. If you have any, please do share those. Please subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.